Peace and blessings. This is Lisa Marie Goodson of the Blackberry Beauty Transformative Academy, Ancient African Wisdom for the Modern Sister. How are you, everyone? So this is day 5 of my 21-day fast. So again, day 5 of my 21-day fast. And so I told you all that I would come to you every day during my fast. Hopefully it could always be outside because, it's so beautiful. But it might actually, be inside as well. But anyway, I want to thank everybody for the support and the love in these videos. When you're fasting, you're actually really sharing from your heart. I want you all to see the transformation that is going on with me because I really want you to be a part of my fasting intensive. It is actually April 23rd, Sunday, so it's a week from this Sunday. So Easter Sunday, no, next Sunday. The Sunday after is from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and it is a live stream. So it's a live stream, but it's a private one. It's Facebook. And for those who don't know what an intensive is, it is a course, a virtual course that anybody could take that I teach. And I'm teaching about the spiritual aspect of fasting. I'm teaching about fasting 101. So I'm teaching about fasting in every way, but I'm wanting to bring back the spirituality of fasting, not just the, ooh, girl, did you see how little I got? I mean, look, I'm the one. I love looking good, because of a fast or talking about it or, feeling good about the way I look. That's a beautiful thing. So let me just make sure I say this. There's nothing wrong with your beauty because I think spiritual beauty is the most ultimate beauty there is. And there's nothing wrong with admiring your beauty and loving your beauty. But I know that a lot of you want to fast because you need something, you want something, there's something that you need to have or to accomplish. There's a goal that you want to desire. And so I'm about bringing that to you. I feel like I've done that in my life. I've used fasting to do it. Again, I've been fasting probably since I was 7 years old with my mom. I think I fasted from about 7 to 12 with my mom. After that, we got a little kind of bigger and grown. And so we felt like we didn't, we just kind of became kids, right? We want to hang out with our friends and, be like everyone else. And so yesterday I was talking about this idea of not being able to be like everyone else. And I was really thinking that, it really started when I was very young. Again, you got to keep in mind that I am a black woman, as you can see. I'm an African-American woman. And most African-American women growing up in Brooklyn the time I grew up with, or children or families, were very Christian. And knew the Bible and went to church and went to Sunday school, and we never did that. My mother was very eclectic. My mother was very bohemian, is the word they would use. Some would say hippie, revolutionary, and so she was very much into spirituality. And so one time we would be practicing Buddhism or would be Islam or but always would be metaphysics. It would always be the basics. And one of the things that I said, we did believe in a creator. We believed in a higher being. And we also believed in our ancestors, that our ancestors gave us stuff, led the way, blessings to the ancestors. So you probably will hear us in my house say, thank the ancestors. Oh, thank you, ancestors. But as we got older, well, first we clearly understood that once you went out in public, that people were talking about church and we couldn't talk about it. People would quote the Bible and we didn't know about it, So I didn't feel any way. I did. I knew it was interesting and different and strange, but I still, when I went home, I felt so, cared for and secure. All of us as my siblings would, I know, attest to it. So it didn't really bother me at that point, but as I got older, I started realizing that, I would ask myself, like, did I miss out on something? Or, now I'm already, we're weird, we fast and, we don't call God, or we do, but we call the ancestors up, and, how is that looking to people? And so it was quite clear to me that we definitely were different from my peers. And, it's funny, I always had a good friend. I always had one good friend, and it lasted for years and years. And then I would meet the next woman that would come into my life, and that would last years and years. And then I met the next woman that would come into my life, and that would last years and years. And let me tell you why I'm telling you this. as you grow, as I grow, let me talk about me, because that's what we talk about. As I grew in consciousness, as I changed my life, as I changed my diet, as I started to embrace my metaphysical spirituality, embrace my ancestral spirituality, I noticed that a teacher would appear, right? When the student's ready, the teacher will appear. And so we would always have these teachers, but for the longest time, throughout any teacher that I ever had, my mother was always my teacher. My mother was always my guide. And my mother actually passed away at 57 years old of lung cancer about 10 years ago. And so I think that I always, even though I had these best friends and these other teachers, there was no teacher like my mother. And my mother would tell me, you got to do your spiritual work. My mother was the one that said, you got to start a spiritual business. The things you know, the things you study, the things that you are into, I encourage you to do it. And so she was really my cheerleader and understood. Nobody understood spirituality like my mother, and to me in my life. And so, but I saw my mother suffer in a way too. She was different, she was unique. Like I said, she read cards, she believed in ancestors, she would have altars. And so, even to her peers, I noticed that no one was like her, none of her friends. They were nice people, nice, good, decent, regular black folks that some believed in Christ, some believed in, Christianity, some believed in maybe other religions, but they were never quite like my mother. And I feel like my mother, got very depressed in her life because she was not able to truly not just be herself, but have that reflection of herself, whether it was in a man, a spouse, or whether it was in a girlfriend or, a homegirl. And so I remember when my mother was passing away, and she said, I'm going to really miss y'all because you are my best friends, y'all. You are my best friends because she taught us about spirituality, and so therefore we could relate to her and understand and know where she's coming from. And so it was something hard to watch, and I always vowed that I would, do things differently. And in a lot of ways, I don't always know if I did. And so I hope that I did, and I know that I did. I know that I embraced my gift. I know that I, put value on my gift. I know that I'm, being compensated for my gift. So I know that my life is different, but it's not better than my mother. I don't want to be better than my mother. I want to be as good as my mother. I want to be as great as my mother. I want to be as powerful as my mother. So I was thinking about that. I was thinking about the idea of, y'all, like, I don't have a lot of girlfriends that I get on the phone and call. So when you become a healer, or when you step into your healing power, let's talk about this. What you do is, in a way, just by stepping into your healing power, people are going to look at you differently. So either people are going to come to you for healing, or because I'm a healer, even if they didn't come to me for healing, I'm going to give some healing advice. And so I'm saying it's not the other people. It's not that these people don't get you. These people don't understand you. It's not even really that there's no one like you. I really thought about this. It's you. It's me. It's me not really embracing the fact that that's just the way I am, and that I got to create relationships around folks that are okay with me being who I am, and most are. And so I realized, though, most of my good friends, okay, so I had my best friend when I was, in the world, y'all. I was partying every night, all night long, hanging out in the village, Greenwich Village, having a good time, y'all, doing my thing. I realized that, my friend at that point was my childhood friend. I knew her since we were 12. And then after she and I, we moved to California together. We were friends for a while. But once I started having a relationship and got with my daughter's father, me and her kind of separated because I became a wife and a mother. And I started to embrace his community and his family. And within that community, though, I had so many profound women teachers. But I never really still had a close friend from the community because my husband and I, like, he was very quiet. He was considered the priest of our community. I was the priest's wife, or you know what I'm saying? So the minister is what they called him. And so it was a very much more like a spiritual house. We kept Sabbath every Friday as a Rastafarian. So it was a very much God, still delving into the spirituality, you know. Now, let me say, prior to that, I was wild thing, okay? So when I married him, I was, you know, he made me an honest woman, I guess, right? When I say married, it was the Rasta version of marriage and ceremony. Not to say Rastas don't get legally married. We didn't do that. So I remember then I changed, right? And so, but I was still at work, and it was a woman, that young lady, 9 years younger than me, that came onto my job, and me and her clicked. Now she was into world music. She spoke 3 or 4 different languages. She was constantly traveling to Haiti, to France, to Cuba, and all these places, and would bring back these stories and these pictures of around the world. And you know, she was into. She wasn't a vegan. She met me and became a vegan because I wasn't a vegetarian. I was a vegetarian man. She was a Muslim sister, so she wasn't a vegetarian. But after meeting me and I introduced her to the community, she became, you know, a vegan or vegetarian, and so we were like right here. We were right here for 15 years. We were the closest friends. My other best friend and I was over 25 years, closest friends. So 15 years, we were the closest friends. I say 25, even though my best friend that I moved out here with, even though we didn't remain close, we would still see each other every once in a while. She actually is still in California. I noticed that so of course my good best friend, she gets married and moves forward, and then it's just me. And I again, you know, the universe brought this raw food goddess named Carmelita Taylor, elder. She probably was 15 years older than me, into my life, as well as it brought a brother into my life who was 28 years older than me. So I had this between the sister and the brother. The brother came first. He was in my life for 6 years. He was the one that put me into a group called African Roots of Jazz. He said, girl, give it all to me, baby. Give it all to me. Because I was like the Rasta woman. I was all wrapped up, y'all. I was Miss Spiritual, preacher's wife type of thing. And so when he met me, he's like, I think there's something else in there in you. And so you need to go be all you can be. And I started doing poetry, dancing, acting for his group. Prior to that, I had taken acting as well. And so he was my teacher. We had a relationship, so of course, while we broke up, and then of course, what my next teacher comes, it is the raw food instructor, the sister. Oh my God, in her 60s, she's absolutely stunning, gorgeous. Her vibe was good. She was a Leo like me, is a Leo like me, and we kicked it so hard. She trained me for 6 years as well into raw foods. I learned everything I know from her. She made the food, she taught me how to make it, she gave me the recipes, but she was so happy to have me in her life as well because no one in her family cared about raw foods, and so I loved it so much, and I took it. And when I saw her some years, you know, later, before I left for North Carolina, she said, sis, I love it. You took that raw foods and ran, and I'm so proud of you, and so I want to give props to her. And so then after her, there was no one else. Briefly it was another sister, but there was really nobody else that I could, you know, kick it with all day, every day, and about who I was. So I just delved into the work. You all became that for me. When you said, oh, thank you for that, or your course changed my life, or that consultation changed my life, or watching your YouTube changed my life. And so you all became that for me. And I'm really thankful for that, to be honest. But I know that, you know, I kick it with my husband, who is my best friend. But as a woman, of course, you need goddesses as best friends. So I vow, I'm not going to feel sorry for myself. And I'm not going to go back on my healing. And I'm not going to do things because I want to be like other people. I want to feel. It's not be like. Spirit said it to me. It's not be like, it's feel like. But I don't want to feel like others because I cannot. And so I embrace who and what I am, and I know that, you know, and I'm opening myself up to loving and fulfilling relationships with Black women who love what I love and love to do the things that I do. So I'm welcoming friends and close friends into my life. Maybe, you know, a lot of times when we say, oh, you know, I became spiritual, I changed my diet, and I can't find people that the people I used to know don't want to do what I do, they're not into what I'm doing, or they're putting my thing down, but it's so hard, I'm not really finding people that I can relate to. I want to say something that Spirit told me this morning in my bath, Spirit said, are you open to having loving relationships with other women? Are you open, having loving relationships to other women, friendships with other women? I grew up where my mom was very isolated. My mom didn't have a lot of girlfriends, or if she did, it was always something. Either they didn't understand her, or maybe they were a little jealous. And so I kind of grew up thinking that maybe it's not normal to have lots of girlfriends or friendships or relationships. So as I approach my 50, I want to stop doing the things I used to do that don't work. I want to stop feeling the way I used to feel, as if I can't do anything about it. That's what this fasting for me today says. It says, look, it's your life and you can have whatever you want. Are you open to having what you want? And I'm like, oh, open to having what I want? Yes, I am. And so I'm giving thanks more than I ever did before. I feel I've always given thanks, but I'm understanding things. Again, you got to understand that I'm not just, this raw food for 7 years, or this vegan for almost over 30 years, or vegan vegetarian, but I'm also about to approach 50. There's something I feel like as black women, we don't talk about aging, but we don't talk about it from a spiritual perspective. That once you stop bleeding, that once your menstruation ceases, that once you start to not have your menses anymore, and you go into this thing called menopause, right, or perimenopause, and in some cases, or eventually postmenopausal, something happens to you. And I think that year before that 50, you either will decide, I'm going to take some things in my past and keep it, or I'm going to take things from my past and throw it away, or you're going to try new things, or you're going to see if what works for you, what you've been doing works for you or still fits for you. I realized that, I'm glad for all of my journey at this point in my life, because I see myself growing, and I see myself progressing, and I really love that. So I don't want you to give up. I don't want you, if you are a healer, or if you into the healing arts, or you interested, but you're afraid, or you think you don't have enough experience, or you think that you're not fully ready, you are ready. You don't have to be perfect. I ain't gonna say you're gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make choices, and some of the choices may be right at the time, and then it might not be right after you're done with it. And it's okay. It's okay to be you. It's okay to love you. It's okay to experiment. But in the end, know who you are. Know who you are and know what you are. I feel like now in my life, especially again, approaching 50, I feel like I'll never have to question myself or what I do again. That I got a chance to be able to do that, and not just, eating the cooked foods, but in so many ways in my life, in my whole journey of being a black woman. And I'm just looking at y'all because, there's the bugs, and the ants is just loving me right now, but that's okay. And so I also wanted to answer a question that somebody had, and she wanted to know, and I promised her that I would talk about that in this video. She wanted to know, how do you get your skin to glow? What do you put on your skin, or what are you doing to have skin like that? I know this for a fact. It is the diet, number one. First of all, I'm fasting, so of course I'm not eating, which in a lot of ways I call not eating solid foods, but still, drinking smoothies and juices and water and coconut water. I still call that being a raw food. So I believe that the raw foods, or natural foods, or healthy foods, let's put it this way, abundance of raw food, abundance of foods that's rich in water, period. Let's not call it raw foods. Let's call it foods that are rich in water. That gives me the glow. I drink almost a gallon of water every day. But another part that I must actually say, because I've been 3 months without it, or 4, December, January, February, March, 4 months without a sea salt bath, it is the sea salt baths. The sea salt baths, they condition the body. They make it softer. They remove toxins, not just mentally, but physically and spiritually, right? Or not just physically, but mentally and spiritually as well. And etherically, they take the darkness away that you may have accumulated. They keep you pure. They keep your chakras open. But it really does, the sea salt, it conditions the body. And I stay in them baths, oh my God, sometimes at least for an hour. But lately, I think I've been in it for about 45 minutes. The last few days, because I still want to keep my house clean and, help deal with my clients and, all of those things. So I think it's the food, the water, the sea salt baths, but it's also the products I use. We have, for those who don't know, I know we have a lot of new members to the family, and so I want to welcome those people. I sell beauty products, shea butter. My husband and I make shea butter. We make facial, bentonite clay masks. We make bentonite clay toothpaste, deodorant, aloe vera, lavender mist, black soaps, So I use my own products that I make 100% natural all of the time. Another thing is this right here, being out in the sun and sweating and being out in nature and being near this beautiful hard river. And y'all, if y'all see my head, look, I ain't finished, my hair, I washed it and I ain't finished twisting it because I have to come out here and talk to you all, and I wanted to make sure that I did that. So it's a combination. I mean, I would sit in the sun for hours, even since I was a little girl. I mean, that was already weird. I was probably 4, I'm gonna say, wow, 11, 11 years old. I remember loving the sun, and I sat out all the time. And I remember people be like, "Oh my God, you so black." You know our people, especially our kids. You so black. Why you out in the sun? Oh, you hella black. I can't believe you sitting in the sun. But like, I'm a Leo, y'all. I love the sun, and I believe that the sun is so great for me. And the shea butter is a natural sun protectant, and it's just, I love it. So it's a combination of a lot. But I would like to believe that our beauty also comes from a good heart. That our beauty comes from us wanting the best for ourselves and others. That our beauty comes from the love for my people. Like, I love my folks. I love black people. That doesn't mean I hate anyone else. I embrace us. I live for us. I work for us. I will, die for us. Meaning that I will, when I leave this earth, it will be hopefully you saying she cared about her sisters. She did it for us. So what I want to do in the intensive, and I really hope you support me, is $97. You can go join at the website right now, the fasting intensive. Is I want to show you all the things that I've done, do, and with fasting, but I want to make it kind of specific where I know you want something, and I want to help you get it. And I want to give you different ways to fast. Angela, I remember you asked me, and I'll do a live stream later, but Angela, if you're watching this, you asked me, Armstrong, is it okay? What if you just do a partial fast and not necessarily a straight up strict fasting? Is there benefits in that? There's always benefits in letting something go, is what she said. Maybe saying I'm not going to eat any white foods, or I'm not going to eat any starches, or I'm going to fast part of the day and then eat the rest of the part of the day, whatever way that is. But I say, what do you want? I would say fasting and the severity of fasting would depend on what you want. If you know, like I said, you want that super duper life change where it ain't happened yet, you've been meditating, visualizing, doing, vision boards, affirmations, and you still have not gotten what you want, that's when you do a 21-day straight up liquid fast. So you're still eating, you're still drinking green juices or fruit juices, with a juicer, or you're making smoothies, or me drinking coconut water, or you're drinking lots of water, so you're getting nutrients, okay? But you're still releasing and letting go, and it's allowing you to be vulnerable. I feel like I realize fasting for me is about vulnerability, because a lot of times we're not so in touch with our feelings when we're not fasting. And we're not so, but we're in touch with our problems, or we're in touch with what we don't have. But it's because the answers are in the emptiness of our soul, the emptiness of our body, the emptiness of our spirit. You understand? The answers are in there. So we're really struggling for nothing when if we fasted for 21 days, or as my girl said, fast for 1 day of every year that you're born, or however long you can, what you're doing is that big problem ain't so big anymore. It's just not big anymore because you are being so clear. And I want to show you how to get to that. I want to help you. I want to guide you. I want to take you through it. And I just, yeah. So, yeah. So, y'all, let me just say this too. Where I live is so freaking beautiful. This is where I live. The apartment building's over there. We just walk across the bridge, and this place is amazing. I'm gonna take you on a walk with me one of these days soon. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna go on a walk with my husband in a minute, which I don't even know where he is. So I doesn't even know because he operates the camera, y'all. But it's this. I remember, you know, when I first started YouTube, and I think right before I started, I was a mother on welfare, and I remember laying out in the sun on my deck in my one-bedroom apartment where I slept in the living room and gave my daughter the bedroom. I remember living like that, but it was still beautiful and pleasant as far as I was so thankful just for living and eating well and always eating organic and loving nature, right? Loving being out. But all I had was the deck and a lounge chair, and that was enough. But I prayed and I meditated and I visualized and I changed my diet and went raw. I saw the blessings come. Every time I did something more, I got more blessings. What I mean by that, every time when I changed from a vegetarian to a vegan, there were blessings. I got beautiful places to live, which is the place around the lake in Oakland that I lived in. When I went from vegetarian to vegan, I went from vegan to raw foodist. I wound up moving, had a two-bedroom house, wonderfully beautiful, loved it. You know, when I went was totally raw though, like I mean raw, like I stayed raw consistently. I was like, I got here. So this healing journey, you know, it's not without its wonderful benefits, you know. It's not without its beautiful benefits. It's not every time you grow, every time you master something. First of all, another teacher's going to come, but also you're going to get the blessings that you want. So rise up, black women, rise up. Keep being your high vibrational self. Keep glowing and living and loving and making sure that, you know, what you want you get. You have to make sure of that. And you can do that by joining my intensive. It's April 23rd from 2 to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's going to be the bomb, and I love you, and I'm so happy that you are here with me today, and I'm just gonna, oh my gosh, let me just feel the sun. You know, I want to make sure too when we do the intensive that I want to tell you certain things. There's smoothies that the first week of fasting, you know what? The first week of fasting, the second week of fasting, the third week of fasting, I'm going to actually teach you all of that in the intensive because it changes. Even what you drink, even how you drink, even the amount you drink, it changes each week. And I want to take you through that. So let me see. Hey, Warren. So y'all, my husband's going to come turn off the camera. I want to thank you for being patient. So today's day number 5. And so tomorrow is going to be day number 6. Again, I'm coming to you every day. And what my plan is to do the juice fast or this fast liquid fast and then to go right into raw foods. Because I want to also teach you in the fasting intensive how to break a fast. And it's got to be, it's a proper way to do it so you get the best benefits from it. I love you all with all my heart. Thank you for coming in today and being out here with the beautiful river and the beautiful nature and the beautiful sun. This is Lisa Marie Goodson of the Blackberry Beauty Transformative Academy. Ancient African wisdom for the modern system. Peace and blessings.